Checkity check check. Checkity 1 2 check check. Checkity 1 2 check check check. Checkity 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right. How y'all doing out there in Back to Basics land? Oh hey, there he is.
My man,
What up, kid?
looking good with the specialty, the mustache. My boy looks fresh.
Nice to have a fresh shirt to wear every now and then.
Amen, brother. I'm wearing my Evanoff shirt. You know these boys from Colorado?
I feel like I've heard the name, but represent.
We must rep.
Yes, must rep. How's my volume for you?
Good. A little hot, but
Hot.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I like it a little. Some like it a little hot.
I like it hot. Well, speaking of hot, that new album, eh?
Yeah, buddy. I saw you taking a little kayak trip this morning, playing some ancient homies. I like that.
Yeah, I was giving it this second listen here.
Fire. What'd you think?
Dude, some good stuff on there.
Yeah.
I want to pull up the track listing. Number 5
Yeah.
was, as you would say in the business, fire.
The industry term.
Yeah, industry term.
Tonberry, I believe.
Yes, Tonberry. Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole flow of the album too. It's really good stuff.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for the birthday present. It comes out on my birthday, which is nice.
It's your birthday at midnight tonight.
It is my birthday at midnight tonight, and that's when the
What's
album
it
comes out.
Dude, I love it. Are you gonna be today?
This mug is
Yoda
about you.
Best- Oh my god, amazing! Is that a birthday present?
No, it's from my friend Jeremy Ballard. He gave it to me last year. He sent it to us. This one and the one that says the bass player is my boyfriend. By the time
I've seen that.
by the time we got back, she was my fiance. So
Wow.
we're already out of date, which is cool.
What do you know? Manifest destiny.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, how long have you been working on this album?
Man, it's hard to say. Like some of these songs date back to like 2016. Like
I
that song.
recognized at least Snell's feet, I think, and maybe another. I think you did the same theme on one of the other songs or something.
Yeah, we
Before.
were playing some of these songs on tour with you guys last
Right.
year.
Right.
The Vessel we've been playing for 2 or 3 years. Tonberry for sure we played that like every show last year. That was when it was like a fresh track. And then songs like Boundary Dissolution used to just be called Boundaries, and we put that as a single in like 2016.
Nice.
So that was probably the oldest, but so it's been kind of 3 years really of like working on these songs, but really like the last year like focused, okay, this is the material for the third album.
Right.
Um, so like it's been a different album for us in the sense like we didn't just go into a studio and have, okay, these are the song lists, we've got a week to track, mix, master, whatever. This was much more organic and done over different time periods, different studios. And then not being on the road kind of allowed us like a few, now like what 7-8 months to like just totally hone in on it and fix any kind of extra recording we wanted to do. We were doing in home studios and at the Music Cellar and other studios. Working on everything was getting mixed by David Sanchez. So it was kind of cool, like to be able to like live with these songs for that long. Like, when you guys typically do an album, are you kind of like just tracking for a certain amount of time? Then it's the mixing. It doesn't take place over that long of a period of time, I'm assuming, with you guys, as most bands.
Yeah, I mean it varies, and as we go forward, I've always felt that our the art form of a live show is something we're a lot more experienced at.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to the point where we're learning the medium of an album, a studio album. We generally go in and get the drums tracked and usually the bass tracked, and then do overdubs from there.
Okay.
We have in the past. I mean, the first album we did, Funk EP, album not EP, that was done. The whole thing, aside from guitar overdubs, was done in like one night, basically. That was at our
Wow.
college.
Right.
And it sounds that way too. Some of the guitars
Yeah.
are in tune. People love it, and I think
Yeah.
it's very great. I like the songs on it, but
It's got that raw vibe, man. You want that first album, like you guys all just met, started playing, like that.
Yep.
That kind of vibe, fans can hear that, and that's
Yeah.
such a cool thing to be able to feel and hear.
Yeah, and it's each album kind of has to be an expression of where you are, sort of a snapshot. But again, yeah, sometimes it
Yeah.
takes like months to get from tracking. And then I remember when we did Psychology, we tracked that ourselves at our friend's parents. Well, we know the dad too, but our friend's house, the Mayers. Shout out to John Mayers, not Mayer.
John Mayer. You recorded at John Mayer's house?
Mayers, yes, that is
Nice.
true.
Plural though. John Mayers.
Yes, multiple. He's
got it.
all of them at once.
Got it.
Really good dude. Had a really nice studio in his basement. He let us just like basically crash his house. So he's like, come in, just use the back door, and like
Nice.
try not to stay up too late or make too much noise. But it's in a studio, so it was fine.
So you guys were just kind of like living and breathing in this studio, tracking
Yeah,
at
we would
all
pop in and out and
hours.
like be there
Yeah.
for a while. And that's a really cool experience to have as a
Yeah.
band, have that space. We didn't know what we were doing at all. I remember Greg being in the engineering room and Jeremy trying to record or vice versa, and we're like trying to make sure we just record everything and get it down.
Oh wow.
And then we gave it to our mixing friend Ilya Kabrinsky, who was the one who was in charge of the studio or the radio station at College Park where we recorded that first album. We
Hmm.
gave it to him to mix, and he just got all the tracks. He was like, "What the fuck do I do with this?"
Oh
And
boy.
then we ended up having Thogmartin master it,
Nice.
and he and Ilya just kind of had to go back and forth. It's like, so there's this buzz on the beginning of
Oh
Horizons, so
yeah.
can maybe we add like a filter sweep in, and that's where that came from. It wasn't like we planned to make it more of an album feel. It just kind of like we needed something to cover it, and Thogs and Ilya were great back and forth and did what they could with it. But we had those songs for like a year and a half. I mean, granted, it was early on in our career, but
I
um,
remember Psychology dropping, man. I remember when I was in Boston, driving home from work from my part-time gig and playing it on my Spotify. Like it was that was a big one though. I feel like for you guys, right?
it
That
felt
was
it felt right, man. It was good to put it
yeah.
out. It's part of our 12.2 million streams on Spotify this year.
There you go, man. Dude, congrats on that. That's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
that's huge. Yeah,
12 million.
I think
How much of these stats do you think are made up?
all of them.
Like, do you really
I
think that
think
every band just got big in Russia this year, or is that just complete bullshit?
78% of all statistics are completely made up.
That's the only accurate
Yep,
statistic there is.
78. It's a couple standard deviations one way or the other, but
I
that's
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how was working with Sanchez?
Oh, it's awesome, man. Yeah, it was wild. Like you said, I mean, when you're tracking in all these different studios, it's like a lot to put on the mixing
Yeah.
engineer. And especially when you're not in the room with the mixing engineer, which
Right.
the first time that way it's not just like on a couch and like, oh, bring that
Yep.
up, which I
Right.
think is kind of nice. You can always tell when a mixing engineer is like, all right, I know what I'm doing, and every studio experience is learning experience, but you kind of
Exactly.
learn like you're like, okay, you need to give the mixing engineer some space to like do his thing, and
Right.
then you can give some artist input. And I'm sure some artists are more difficult than others.
Well, with our engineer that we've used for the past couple albums, Steve Wright from Right Way Studios,
Yeah.
he's kind of like been a ghost producer in certain ways. Like,
Oh,
you're
cool.
too busy here. Like, this is a studio album. Like, you need to break it down. I'm like, well, I want to keep the feel here. So we would kind of like find a Venn diagram where we're like, all right, I'll try it this way. It's like, what if you carve out a hole here? And we
Hmm.
would sometimes write bass lines together, which a lot of my lines are
Cool.
just kind of like throw it on and like cut it down with like a potter's wheel as you go. And it's really cool to do that with him, and I really enjoy that process. And I've learned a lot as a bass player, and learned how to write bass lines working with him too.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So he was like a producer role. He was giving you input
Essentially, I
on the
mean,
compositions.
yeah, and he does that with all the bands he does. He does high volume, just like a lot of smaller bands, but like really good quality.
Yeah.
He does bigger bands too. He does Future Islands, who are from Baltimore as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah, I know those guys.
Yeah, I've seen them in passing in the studio. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? Hey, what's
Oh,
up?
cool. Yeah,
Um,
totally.
that's cool, kind of like for a dorky young kid like me to think like, oh, cool. Now I'm just kind of like rubbing shoulders with people who've been on fucking whatever late night show they were on.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, that was a cool experience. But yeah, he really has helped me develop as a bass player too. And
Yeah.
that's, I remember going back to Psychology, playing Time to Ride, doom doom doo 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 zoop. I'd slide each time, and I didn't notice that till I heard it on the studio album. I'm like, well, that's not what I was going for. And
Right.
that really changed how I thought. I was like, what else am I thinking I'm going for that I'm not going for? And that's
Sure.
started a process of just like, yeah, I got this, to like, what am I doing? And then kind of like swinging back and forth between those two.
Right. Yeah, like that kind of producer input is so cool. I think that's something we've always wanted but never really had. It's kind of like, and it's this weird line of like the engineer kind of being like, well, like you're not paying me to produce this album. Like
Right,
I'm
right,
doing what you're doing.
right.
And also just like, well, hey, these are your songs. They're done. I like when we did Sheen, we did it at Applehead Studios in Woodstock, which is an intimidating studio. It was our old booking agent, Mr. Major Baggett,
Oh
who,
yes,
who
yes,
we know, Baggett
yes,
Boot Camp,
yes.
fellow graduates.
That's whatever's
Um,
clever. That
yeah.
man.
So he connected us there, which was really cool, and we went in, and this guy Chris Bittner, incredible engineer, but like I mean, like he's engineered Deftones records,
Wow.
and Bad Brains and Medeski Martin Wood, and it was intimidating. And there was definitely times when we're like hanging out, like we'll go outside after a tracking session and like smoke a bowl and come back in, and we're listening to it, and John would be like, dude, like bring that up, like turn that up, and like he's just like, no, like I'm, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
not feeling the input. But so it was different in that sense with David Sanchez, where it was not in the same room. So I think it has
Right.
advantages and disadvantages. Like obviously, like a lot of texting, and
Yeah. I'm
I
sure.
was I went on Dave's podcast yesterday. He has an awesome podcast that you should check out. Anybody listening, it's called the Riffs or Die podcast.
Riffs or die. Cool.
Riffs or Die, yeah, it's great. It's on streaming everywhere. But it's he's like just such an interesting guy because he plays guitar in a thrash shred metal band. He's also a mixing audio engineer. He's like a great lyricist and vocalist, and he's also like a very much an advocate of like free thinking and not so much conspiracy theories, but like philosophy and stuff like
Sure.
that.
Sure. I mean, the name theory is in conspiracy theory, so if you're really approaching it right, it's just a theory.
Well, that's what he says too. So, yeah.
But we'll post that link to that podcast in our description
Great.
here. I'm definitely gonna want to check that out. I'm looking for it.
You'd really like that podcast, actually. You should check it
Yeah.
out. He has some very interesting guests.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was interesting, like doing it from that sense where it's like, okay, I want this bass brought up to to 2 dB or something.
Right.
And so
You
it's
have
not
to
like you can
listen
just
back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a delay, right? Like
Right.
you'd send a text, you get a response, then you get the track. So in some sense, it's can be kind of constricting because you can't maybe explore every possibility.
Right.
But in some senses, like that's good. You kind of need to set some like rules when you're recording. Like it's easy to just go off the fucking rails and be like, dude, just put a fucking tuba in there. Like why not? Let's
Right.
try it.
10,000 didgeridoos.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could try it, but you're probably just wasting time.
Yeah.
So it was a different experience. It was interesting, but I mean, Dave did an awesome job. It's like by far my favorite sounding record we've done.
Yeah. It sounds
Bigger,
good. I
heavier.
got the record coming in a few months.
Oh, did you order the
Ordered
vinyl?
That was a birthday present for myself. One of many.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And you got the advanced copy. Did you do a video?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yep.
I haven't seen your video yet.
Yep.
I've only seen some of the videos, but your video will be in our live listening party tonight.
Oh,
I'm
so
excited.
last night for all those listening.
Yes. Okay. Is this dropping on Friday?
Well, we could do it
Whenever,
today if we want. I mean, we haven't put one out in so long. I think what's
Right.
one extra day, but
Totally.
we could get it
whatever.
out.
Hey man,
Um,
let's get it out there.
Yeah. I figure.
But cool. Thank you, buddy, for
birthday
sending
drop.
that video. I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, it's good. And
I'm excited to just watch it.
I was gonna do it Monday and something came up and I couldn't do it. And he's like, "Hey man, don't want to pester, but I gotta get it done." I'm like, I know, I get it. And I just went in the other room real quick and just like threw the shirt on,
Yes.
put the headphones on, and I made sure I was actually listening to it too. I was like, I'm not gonna bullshit around and not listen. I listened to
Cool.
blending into one, homies blending into one.
All right, that's what we were texting about.
Numero
What,
tres.
what do you think of homies blurring into one?
Well, it's blurring, not blending. I keep saying blending.
Oh,
The
okay,
next one,
it's blurring, yeah.
It's blurring or blending.
It's blurring because then the next song is Boundary Dissolution, so there was kind of a little bit of a flow in there, I guess we wanted to have.
Well, and was that, I wanted to ask you, you said there are 3 improv tracks on the album, right?
Yeah.
Was that one of them? Was it those 3?
Yeah. The tracks 3, 6, and 9, we call them the homie improvs.
Yeah.
So it's homie numero uno, numero dos, numero tres. And like each one just kind of has a dumb parenthetical title. Like we have all these
Dumb parenthetical title. That should be the name of our first album.
dumb parenthetical title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, we we have all these different names. We have a list of like stupid names and shit. That's where Ancient Homies literally came from, like a voice memo of it was just one of like 100 names. And then it was other things too, and it felt like we were very happy to go with that. But like we had names on this list. I was like homie numero uno, like
Yeah.
we just say it about people, like if there's some guys being like crazy, like ranting, I just be like, that's homie, like
Homie numero uno over there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that guy.
Exactly. There he is.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, like homies blurring into one. That was just kind of like the craziest track. Like they're all built off one kind of huge improv session.
Okay,
like
cool.
3 hours of improv in the studio.
Nice.
And so we went in and just kind of found different things that we liked about it. Like the improv deals with this kind of modality, this scale called the Snell scale. Here, actually, I can play it for you. I wired up right before.
Yeah, let's do it, baby.
Let's get a bass going.
Yep.
This is something I posted this on my Instagram yesterday because I was working on it with a student, and I had some nerdy theory talk with Brownie. He's like, "Love that scale." Going back and forth about it.
I'll never forget our podcast with him. It was just like, he went off.
It was great. I
was, like,
love
lightning and
theory
thunder.
nerd Brownie. It's so awesome.
I know. It's
Okay. So okay, can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay. So here I'll put on my EQ. There we go. So this scale, right? It's D. Like Snell's Fleet is in drop D. Not all of the homie improvs are. Every homie improv is actually in a different key, but they deal with this scale. So the scale is like chromatic, very chromatic. It's kind of like the Phrygian dominant scale, like that kind of
Yeah.
a scale that we use a lot. Phrygian dominant's the fifth degree of harmonic minor. But I kind of like when I started fucking around with this modality, I was just adding in more chromatic notes and taking out some notes. So it's very much the root is D, but it's kind of about this 3 chromatic notes. So it's a half step up, a flat 2, and a half step down, a major 7.
That's it. Very interesting because we when we were working our Flockbusters, we were doing Miserloo, and we were trying to figure out what key that's in. I think we
Phrygian
figured
dominant.
well, there was something different about it. I think I forget what I was talking to my bass teacher. We were trying to figure out what to call it or what it would be. One of the things we settled onto, it was the 4th mode of the Hungarian minor scale.
What is Hungarian minor?
Fuck knows, but take that. I don't have myself lined up. I'll have to figure it out. I have a lesson with him later, so I'll ask him.
Oh, dude, I'm super interested to hear what that is.
It's basic. I mean, it's what Miserloo is in. So you got the.
I always thought Miserloo was just Phrygian dominant.
Maybe it is, and maybe we're saying the same thing. What are the scale degrees?
For Phrygian dominant, root, flat 2nd, major 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 2nd, minor 7th, octave.
Okay, so the difference is it's a major 7. It's Phrygian dominant.
Right.
No, it's Phrygian.
Yeah, because like so the Snell scale I'm about to play for you is essentially Phrygian dominant, but with a major 7.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
But like it's really all about this kind of that play between those 3 notes.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of improv and stuff on the album, like the beginning of Snell's Fleet, where we kind of if I hit this reverse delay and I play all 3 of those notes, it gives you like this very unstable tonic, and you're not really sure like what the tonal center of it is. So kind of like if I hit just an open good drone to get that kind of that ominous reverse, and then so like those 3 chromatic notes kind of blend into this one weird amorphous note.
Yep.
So the scale sounds like this. I'll just play it instead of geeking out on it.
It sounds just like Snell's Fleet, though.
Exactly. So like there's a line literally in Snell's Fleet that's just the scale. And if you play it in like broken thirds, or in some parts here it's broken seconds, just that concept of skipping one note and coming back to it, it has this really cool sound.
That reminds me of a exercise that Stenik taught me when we were touring with them.
Oh, cool.
I was like, show me how to warm up or whatever, how to be a good bass player. He's just like, there's one cool exercise. I showed my bass. He's like, that's pretty fucking cool.
I bet Stenik's got the good stuff. Dude, wait till you see Stenik's cameo tonight.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I can't say when it is or where, but it's amazing.
Oh, boy.
We got some bass boys in there tonight, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's appropriate. I mean, you really went all out on the album, and I love it.
Brother.
Dude,
Dude, thank you so much, man.
Do you normally, I mean, you don't do vocals normally, right?
No, not typically, you know.
Have you had other songs with vocals in past albums?
Yeah, some American Apocalypse off Cheen. I wrote the lyrics for that and sang that. And that was like my attempt at being like Tom Waits. Like I was trying to do like the megaphone sound, the very like old antique machinery, but it came out the way it just ended up. Everyone's just like, yeah, that Primus song, the Primus song.
Right.
And it's like, even when I don't try to sound like Primus, I do, which is, hey man, it's part of my DNA. I don't shy away from it.
Primus sucks. The special's decent.
You know what I mean, dude?
Yeah.
I like it. But yeah, so we leave the lyrics and all that to Johnny, but I am stoked on this album, the balance. I think other albums have been less balanced, but I kind of like the mix of instrumentals and vocals.
It's a very cohesive
cool.
art form. It feels right, flows together, and like the lyrics. I never listen to lyrics, which is a problem now that I'm trying to write some of my own.
Sure.
Like, I probably should have been knowing what other, and so I've started to listen more and more. But my natural inclination is just hear it as an instrument, the words and the way it sounds together, and I don't really look into the meaning.
The melody of it.
Yeah, the melody and just the way they flow together. I'm
Yeah.
a big Mac Miller fan, the way he puts his words together.
Oh, hell yeah.
And even so, I'm like, well, with him, and the more I listen to it, the more I uncover the meanings behind it. But
sure.
there'd be a long time where I wouldn't even remember, I'd be hearing a Pigeon song and be like, that's what he's saying? Like, while we're playing it on stage for the 500th
Totally.
time. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. That's like same with like even just songs you love where you're like, oh,
Right,
I didn't, or you're just hearing a lyric a different way, and then one day you're like, oh, that's not what they're saying.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I like how it is, in it. I'm super super excited to get the record, just like throw it on for like friends who are coming over. When
Yeah,
Ben and
awesome.
Goose was over with his lady after the Frederick show, they
Yeah,
played.
he told me he linked up with you guys down at the
Yeah, and
farm.
I
That's
was
dope.
like, we're looking for records to put on. I would have been the one to throw fucking on
Mm,
there. That would have been good.
totally.
He
You
looks
know,
at he
I'm
was like, how about this pizzazz album? I'm like, no, I'm good.
yeah.
It's fun, but not while friends are over. Like
Yeah,
I did
right,
blast
totally.
the Presto on recently just to like really like
Sure.
get the
How
vibe.
does it sound on vinyl?
It's good. It's good. I don't know exactly how tuned I am, and it's so hard to listen to shit. And I'm just like, well, the guitar's poking through a little too much there, and so I can't turn
Sure.
it up enough. And all the same with the live show. It's just like, hey man, you
Sure,
were
sure.
great. Yeah, fuck you, I sucked. It's like, well,
Yeah.
no, like you just hear how you can be better because that's why you do this. That's why you're in this art form. That's what an artist
Exactly.
is seeing what sucks because they can make it better.
It's always
And
going
so
to sound different to you than
they're
anybody
always going to
else.
see, yeah, well, you also heard it more and you're
Yeah.
going to see the mistakes and what's wrong. So it was cool. And then I'd be like, that's not exactly what I was going for. Or,
Yeah.
but then I try to get better each time. Like in past albums, it's been the writings of the bass lines. I spent a lot of time for Presto working on in Ableton,
Oh, cool.
just kind of like getting the filter sweeps for Avalanche, adding little effects. This is the first time you really did that. And I did a lot of post production work. Everything else we've
You were
done.
doing that just like on tracks itself, not just the bass, but doing some little
Yep.
post production things. Oh, that's
Yep,
pretty
I
cool.
took Avalanche specifically. I took and it was nice with that one because you're talking about the DBs. I actually had the bass track separate from everything else, and I was able to fuck with that. I was like, this should go up 2 decibels here, and I tried it on
Yeah.
my computer. And it's like that's right, and then I just sent it over. I
That's
think
a great
Steve,
level of flexibility to test it on your end first.
yeah, and I think Steve has the ability to mix things remotely, so you can like both tune in and like mix stuff. So whenever we work on more things, it should be
Right.
even easier.
That's like this new thing with like Splice is this app and
That's what we now are using to write music together.
very cool.
We had that kind of in the works, and I've used it with Owen in Schwa.
Mm.
Shout out Schwa.
Uh,
Yeah,
I said you
but
guys got some pins dropping?
got some pins dropping. My friend Tony Waldron, one of my bass students.
Oh, cool. Tony's the man. Yeah,
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 before
yeah.
that, he had this concept for Alf and Schwalf.
Oh,
So
sick.
he's just like, "Can I make these pins?" I'm like, "All right, if you really like it, go for it." And he made them, and they're fucking cool. And now we get to put them out. I'm gonna. So Owen, neither half of Schwa, he's looking at this. I think it's a GT 1000 multi effects guitar pedal.
Okay.
Which will be better for touring. And he wants to get used to it because instead of bringing his pedal board, and we're having issues in Ableton where processing is too much, so we're trying to get everything off of it. Bass
Yeah.
can go through VSTs like Serum, and then guitar processing on that multi pedal board, and just pull things out of it because he has a high processing computer. I have my laptop, and when we tried to do streaming in April, it just was like not happening. So we're trying to
Oh, yeah.
rebuild the set. But so for
Right,
my
right, right.
birthday tomorrow, I would like to release. We're gonna release 33 pins, 11 of each of the three variants. So there's gonna be 11
Cool.
only released right now. We'll have more in
Yeah.
the future. They'll be $33 each, and if we sell out of them, I'm buying Owen a guitar pedal for
Oh,
my birthday.
fire.
Yeah,
Yo, I'm gonna have to cop one then, man.
yeah. Take a look. Take a look.
Hey, man, you copped a vinyl. I'll cop a Schwa pin, dude.
There
We'll
it is.
call it
There it
even.
is. Yeah, we got a little Christmas one, and then there's a glow one we're waiting on, so that'll come out later. But
Oh, sick. Okay, I'm gonna stay tuned for that then tomorrow.
yeah,
When's the pin drop?
333,
Perfect.
33 pins, 33 each,
Yeah.
33 years old.
Yo, that's fire, dude. See, that's the kind of marketing, man. I should have tapped you for this. Like, we've been fucking with that whole like three theme. That numerical three is a theme on
Yep.
the album, you know.
Yep.
And it was funny. Like when we were talking about releasing it, we're like, oh, December 3rd would be perfect. Like, there's definitely some like little details that we paid attention to that get lost in the shuffle. Nobody else
Yep.
really would.
Yep.
Like we did a net. Like the first single dropped the Vessel on 3/3 on
Nice.
back in March.
Nice.
Which I don't think anybody fucking knew that.
Sometimes it's the fun stuff that you do for yourself because with albums and with shows, like you really want to entertain yourself first because you
Sure.
trust that other people, if you're enjoying it, other people enjoy. That's one thing I am more aware of with these streaming shows is the dead air in between each song. It's like you're not waiting for a crowd, like you're just kind of joshing around on stage, and like they get to see what it's really like. Like, what if
Right.
there was no crowd there and you're playing a show? What
Right.
what would it be? So I think that type of stuff, the kind of Easter eggs and like the fun stuff that's all worth it. If they're like, well, March 3rd is a fucking, Sunday afternoon. You're not gonna want to release it then. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I get that, but I think that type of stuff is really fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important. Like you said, it has to feel good for you. Like if you're not into this, if you don't think this is cool, why should anybody else be into
Right.
it? But
Which
it's
makes
like, yeah, there's a fine line of like, am I trying too hard? Like,
Yeah.
and this isn't gonna translate.
Well, that's why it's nice to have a team around you and like different people.
Bounce ideas. Yeah.
So that actually kind of brings me up into the dynamic of a band and your concept of H and homies. It,
Yeah.
the way I interpret it is something I've thought about, as a theory, not an
Sure.
idea
That's what we're
that,
talking here. Theories, baby.
before we came upon this earthly physical realm, we were just spiritual buddies up there. You and I, the band, this and that, and we're up there just like, I'm the fucks with, Jeremy's the whatever, and Greg's the Cocapelli, whatever you want to do with it.
Greg is totally Cocapelli.
He's Cocapelli. If I had to be. I was called. I have a friend who's like, oh yeah, you're like totally the Cocapelli, and I'm like, I don't know, I can be, and that's what this guy is. This was a painting
Oh, cool.
of me.
That's you.
Chuck Hughes. He painted it
Wow,
at
that's
Steamboat
gorgeous.
Springs. It's blacklight sensitive too, so I can get blacklight on that.
It's gorgeous.
He painted that during our set in Steamboat Springs, Old Town Pub, when they had the stage, in the crowd instead of like an actual stage.
Oh, I never experienced that.
Yeah.
But shout out Sean. I love that venue.
Yeah,
man. That
dude,
place is
Don and
great.
Ponzi.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the idea that it's just a fun kind of narrative I tell in my head. But
I love that.
We were all up there, and we were just like, let's go down and be humans and start a band. Like we're ancient homies from like millennia, just like an infinite amount of time memoriam,
Yes.
and we're like, let's do the human trip. Let's try it out. Let's see what's up. And we go down and start a band. Forget everything. Like you go in and like we can't remember this. Like we go in
Right.
and packed like boom, and then all of a sudden there you are, ancient homies, just like now here on Earth, spreading the music and the joy and love.
Dude, I love that. That's on point as fuck, and I think that's totally a concept that we were thinking about.
Yes.
One of the titles that we were considering going with was Celestial Homies.
Yeah. Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, with a name like that, we wanted it to be super open to interpretation. Like this is what a homie is, what an ancient homie is. We love people attaching their own meaning and story behind. Like for us, a part of it, is like, yeah, like we're ancient homies. We've been playing in this band together for 15 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Literally ancient homies. And
literally, yeah, exactly. That's a pretty literal interpretation.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're into like the alien lore and stuff
Yep.
like that. Johnny's very into like aliens and aliens being here in the past, and I'm very into like Lovecraft and that kind of like very ancient science fiction writing and old
Yeah.
wizard tomes. And so it was kind of a combination of that, and then also our friend Ryan Green, I got to shout out. He's one of our best friends that we grew up with, and he passed away way too soon when we were on tour 2 years ago. And he had been living in Thailand. I was able to go visit him out in Bangkok, which was awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I'm really grateful for it now, especially.
Yeah.
But his whole thing was that's homie. That's what he'd say about any like that was kind of
That's
that's
homie.
thing.
Yeah.
And so we were like, so a part of this was like this is for our homies that have left the planet too, that are still
Yeah.
with us and always will be homies. So there was an element of that too, but
The celestial homies.
the celestial homies, man.
Yeah.
It's anything anybody wants it to be, and it's just kind of like I love that. We've talked about it before. Like I just love that combination of like okay, kind of dark, mystic, ominous, but also like don't take it too seriously, like
Right.
And so I love albums that do that. Like Tool's Anima is like to me one of the most brilliant album names ever. So that's kind of I don't know. It's funny. It's like we went back and forth with so many names, and it just kept coming back to it. And we were just like, and that's what happened. The same thing happened with Sheen. Like we didn't know what the fuck we were gonna call this album, and Sheen had just become this thing. It had just taken on a life of its own. Our fans were making memes. Everything was Sheen, just like Sheen. That's Sheen. And we're just like, that's what the album is. Like
Was Sheen pre-fire?
Sheen was pre-fire. Do you know where we came up with Sheen?
No. No,
The
I don't.
8x10 in Baltimore.
Yo, yeah, where we just were for our
Where
streaming.
you
thing.
guys just did
Which was by far the best streaming experience I've had because of all the vibes in there. Like it
Yes.
felt like a show, and we had our significant others there. Cece was there on her birthday, and
Oh, cool.
it was a only like 4 people, but like having any crowd at all just like made it exponentially more of a real show.
I saw, so I want to talk about Flockbuster. It looked awesome. Like I could see in there. Like you could see you had Manny with the light set up. You
Yeah,
had
most
MK
lights that place you've
Devo.
probably seen. Yeah.
Totally. I thought you guys did a pretty amazing job with making it like feel intimate, but also have that like feel of a Pigeon's big
Yeah,
show.
exactly. And that was the cool thing about going back to that. And one of the joys of this whole experience of stopping touring, it's like, all right, you're going to a place and you're again trying out a different art form, and it's bigger
Yeah.
stage, like running across the stage more, and then you have the smaller levels. Like, okay, well now there's more facial expressions, or just like really honing in on the bass, or just like
Yeah.
kind of vibing with the people who are right next to me. Alex is right here versus me having to
Right.
go around and like find him. Oh man,
That stage is tight.
I
That's a
scared the
little
shit
different than
out
your
of
guys' normal stage
I
setup.
scared the shit out of Alex. I think it was the Frederick show. I had just gotten a longer cable. It's like, let me just, need room for activities here. Like, I want to
Yeah.
go around, and Eric made us a new loom, and he made mine nice and long. So at one point, we're like playing, and I just like run up behind Alex while he's playing so far away, like all the way around. And I'm just like playing, and I go, yo. And he goes, ah.
That's
Freaked the
incredible.
fuck out. Yeah, that was fun.
Um, uh, so what was your favorite like movie theme thing that you
Oh,
guys
that's
did? Because
rough.
it's
That's
quite
rough.
it was quite a cool set list.
There's so many good ones. Movie themes are amazing. Obviously,
Yeah,
Good and Bad and the Ugly was fun as shit.
that's fucking
Especially that
awesome. You guys did that.
it was in our new one of our newest songs, "In the Bubble," that
Okay.
we wrote during quarantine. In
Oh,
the
cool. Yeah.
bubble, so it's a
Okay.
nice.
Had you played that song before?
We
The
played
In
it.
the
Yeah, we
Bubble.
debuted it at I think the Philly Drive-In show.
Oh, cool.
And we debuted a song at Home Fest, Waitlist. We got a bunch more working on. I have one of my own. I have
Awesome.
one just basically it was a melody idea, but I think we're switching to just a bass line idea. But that's I've had that late night 5 or 6 a.m. I couldn't fall asleep, so I went to the van and was smoking a bowl and just kind of like on GarageBand, and I was like, I'm just gonna make this song right now, and that's
Great.
like one of the few times I've ever done that, and now we're finally developing it. So that's what this
Awesome.
year is really just like letting things kind of settle in and like figure it out and like work on stuff and kind of come back to the beginning, kind of like reset, reloop.
Right. And just getting back to like writing together and not necessarily doing it for a big tour
Right.
or a
Exactly.
festival.
Yeah, it's nice. We're kind of back to just kind of jamming in the basement, which we've been doing
Right.
this whole time. We continue, we'll practice at least once a week when we're not touring, usually more, even if we don't have shows coming up, just to like
Yeah.
hone things and work on new songs and all that other stuff. But yeah, now it's like just that, and it was weird
Right.
before we did the drive-in shows again. It's like, can we still like play shows? Like we're just dudes jamming in a basement, and that's what we
Right.
are the whole time. We just have experience of playing enough. We have an amazing crew around us that make us look
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sound like fucking professional.
Totally.
And I've honed my sound, so if I played without a sound guy, I'm sure I'd be better than it used to be. But it's never gonna be what it is with Eric. He's a fucking genius
Oh
at what
yeah.
he does.
I mean, you guys, your live show is so dialed, and it's such you're a touring juggernaut. So it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of a weird shift to go back to like now
Well,
we're
and it
writing
also
music in a practice space.
when I think I might have mentioned this in one of our other pods, but like knowing that all of our sound was coming through cars FM speakers, like, well, I can't rely on big ass subs for people to feel me, so I'm gonna hone the fuck in on my sound.
Mm.
And I think that intention really paid off for the Flockbuster. People said they could hear my bass a lot better.
Oh,
Even with the
cool.
last album, like it really came through because I was focusing on not just that low end like beefiness. It's still there when it needs to
Right.
be, but like definition, where I'm playing, and just how I get my tone going. So
Where can people check it out? Because when it was live Friday and Saturday, I got to check
it'd
out more
still
of the
be on.
Friday set, but I didn't have great Wi-Fi where I was, and it was like cutting out. So I want to be able to just like throw it on my TV
Yeah, it
and
should
chill
still be
and
able
hear
to
it.
be on YouTube. I'll have to check it out. But I think
Cool.
after the first weekend, which was donation based, which we gave, there were proceeds that went to the 8x10 and National
Yeah.
Independent Venue Association, which was an
Awesome.
awesome pivot
How'd
from
that go?
Richmond. I think it went really well. I have the luxury of not really being too involved in that type of stuff, sort of partially by design, partially by choice, and partially there's enough cooks in the kitchen, like, gotta let that happen. I have Schwa to work on that stuff as it goes forward, so I still keep involved, but
Yeah.
it seemed like it went really well. They had already reached their goal, the 8x10. They did their first ever GoFundMe.
Right.
I don't know if you ever met Brian playing the 8x10. You definitely met Abigail.
Sure.
Brian is her husband, and he's
No, I never met Brian.
more of a hard ass, and like he was there like early on, like the 5 bands for $5. He'd be like, "All right, everyone, gather around, listen up. Here's how it works. This is what's gonna happen. You're gonna have a great fucking time. Your fans are gonna be fun. But don't fuck it up." Like
No
that.
cases in the stairwell.
Exactly. Yeah. That
I've
kind
been.
of guy.
Abigail crucified me for cases in the
As
stairwell.
as well she should have. But that was another nice thing about doing it on our own. Just like cases went where the fuck we wanted. They were just,
Yeah. Right. So you had cases in the stairwell for the stream?
Yeah, absolutely we did. Well,
Wow.
you saw the light show. Where else were we
Yeah.
gonna put them on the fucking roof?
Right.
You know,
Right. So I can
they were out
envision.
in the crowd too. There was cases.
Were you just like surfing on your base case, like down the stairs, just like?
Basically, yeah. That
Yeah,
was
that's
the
what I would
after
do.
party got pretty crazy.
Did it? Did you guys have an after party there?
We just hung out and it was literally
We've all had some good hangs in the 8x10 green room.
exactly. There were literally like 10 of us. So it was like it was so nice that having to be like, all right, well I'm gonna go upstairs and like I hate being exclusive and like we're going to the backstage.
Sure,
It
sure.
seems like something you'd like to do, but it's actually not that. I mean, it's great. Let's not kid ourselves. It's awesome to go back.
Yeah.
Actually,
Sure.
I want to point this out. Backstage in Frederick is where I got these awesome socks. Old Bay. I don't know if you can
Oh
see.
wow, look at those.
Yeah, Old Bay right there. So I was gonna ask you, what are the best socks you've ever gotten in a green room?
Oh man, in a green room?
Yeah, like
Dude,
on a rider.
You know what? We never did socks on a rider, which was a fuck up.
That's the funny thing is these weren't on the rider. He just
They just gave them to you?
yeah, Tim Walther from All Good Presents just had, I guess,
Whoa.
there was some Maryland type stuff. It was a nice little touch. I enjoyed that. It
No,
was,
we don't get treated like that, man. We don't get just handed socks to
The
us.
only time I saw
we get like some carrots. From
the only time I
last
saw
band.
socks on a rider was when we played a frat in North Carolina, and there was some rapper, and he got socks and Magnum condoms. That was like his rider. I was like, socks, that's a good call. Like, maybe not Magnum, but
Yeah.
I get.
Yeah, we need like 100 magnums and extra large ones.
I don't know if he did that just in case it was a girl picking up the rider, and then she like,
Exactly,
popped up, like, yeah, that's right, I got a big.
He just wants a pile of magnum condoms like sitting in the green area. We're like,
Yep.
"Ooh."
I mean, who knows what he's doing with them? I don't know. Maybe he takes that carrot and does. I don't know.
Maybe
Might
make
have
them
to-
just balloon animals or some shit.
Yeah. Well, I know you have places to do and people to be.
I got another podcast coming up. Another pod, baby.
What
Please
pod are you
sweet.
doing? What are you podding?
The Sound Podcast with Ira Herman.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, so I know our buddy Peter from Goose had just done it.
Okay.
I don't know too much about it, but yeah, I'm hopping into that with JG, and then yeah, just getting ready for this live listening party tonight. So whenever this comes out, it'll probably just be up, either it
Yeah.
premiered or not, but it should be on our YouTube and Facebook.
I mean, I can get it up today if we want.
Why the fuck not, man? We
Uh-huh.
out here.
Yeah, I'll just throw it on YouTube now, and then we'll at least have it on YouTube, and then I'll update the website and get the pod
Yeah.
on. Because I need like a thing from Chris, like one of those.
Let's do it. Chris is in fucking. When I was on the phone, he was driving through New Mexico.
Right. Yeah. He's floating.
He's a
floating-
cross country boy right now.
He reminds me of Mr. Mackey when he took his tie off and his head just floats.
His head
away.
just floats up.
Like he's been grounded and like there now. He's just kind of like.
Dude, he's killing it. He's just driving in his RV with his dog Molly, and he's like, yeah, he was gonna go back for the holidays. He's like, but Rochester is just like in the red zone with COVID.
fuck
He's
that.
like, I'm just gonna keep going west and go to.
Well, he
Laguna
might
Beach.
link up with Tom Green, who got a van and outfitted it to make it a podcast studio. So we should try to link up with him. Tom Green has a dog he got from the Bahamas and has been on the road for
What?
months now, I think. Just going to, maybe not months, but the first time he like saw people like didn't pick up curbside groceries was Joe Rogan's podcast recently.
Tom Green, like, my bum is on your lips, Tom Green.
My bum is in his van. His bum is in his van.
Dude, he was a childhood hero of mine. I would love to meet. Have you ever met Tom Green?
No, but we got to get that in. We gotta
Oh
get
my
that in.
God.
So I have another plan for Back to Basics where we teach celebrities to play bass for like 6 months and then have them on.
Oh, I
So
love
like
that.
we like link up with Tom Green. It's like, Tom Green, you want to learn bass? Once
Yeah.
a week, you're getting Luke and then me, back and forth. We're gonna
Yeah.
teach as much as we can and then bring you on and tell us what you.
We'll do a couple like private lesson sessions.
That's right.
I'm
And,
telling you, man, Jason, might be our in with Jason Momoa.
I think it is.
And he's like, lessons? I don't need lessons. I'm Aquaman.
Yep,
Like, no,
well-
I saw you playing higher ground, my man. We could work on that technique a little
Yeah,
bit.
there you go.
You getting there, my man, but we could work on that.
Yeah. You got the potential. I mean, I
That's
have
my
been
step
confused for Aquaman before.
Hey, I mean, same. Anytime I'm walking down a dock with a handle of whiskey and waves are crashing, is that awkward? No, it's just Luke.
That's Luke. Yeah. Same thing. I mean, that's what I expect. I now have. Someone pointed out. I think I have. Let's see if it's not quite. I need to take a shower and get my hair right. But
What you got?
yeah, it's all messed up.
Oh yeah, you got an Aquaman vibe going.
No. Here it is. I am Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
You killed my father.
You killed my father. Prepare to die. And then I have a
Is that Zorro?
No, that's from The Princess Bride.
Oh, I should
Yep.
have known that. The mustache.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I have an alternate for. We're not sure if we're gonna get it out this year, but Schwa had an idea. Monday, I was talking to Owen about something else. He's like, "Oh yeah, are we ever gonna do electronic Schwanica?" which
Oh,
is an
wow.
idea I've had for years. So, maybe like put it up on Instagram, like 8
Yes.
different days, like that combines into one full song of like, Hanukkah.
I love that, man. There's so much shit for like Christmas streams and shit. Get an
Yeah,
electronic Hanukkah vibe going.
electronic
I
Hanukkah.
love that.
That's we're
Electronic
working on it. I
Hanukkah.
think it's a little too late in the game right now. I just don't feel like putting myself through that stress and pressure to get it done right now and like not have
Yeah.
to be great. But we have
Yeah,
things
yeah.
in the works. But that said, I need to record this. I am Inigo Menorah. You lit my father. Prepare to fry. Or no, it's prepare to chai, which is Hebrew for life. I'll work.
Oh, sick. I think you should make that the intro for this episode.
Yes. I think I will. My name is Inigo Menorah.
I gotta go watch Princess Bride again.
Yep. Well, you have 15 minutes to do so.
Okay, that was perfect. We ended right at 1:45. Yo, it's good to do Back to Basics with you again, my bass bud. Everybody
Yep.
else, I know we say it every time, but we're gonna do more episodes, baby.
We got to get
Know
used
it.
to doing quicker ones. I like how we just
Quicker
started
ones.
into this and got it
Today
going.
we did every now and then we
Happy.
get on the page, we make it happen.
I was
we
still
do it.
making my hard-boiled egg on toast when I was like, it was like 5 minutes before. I'm like, so you're still good for one, right? And I'm like, yeah, because
I gotta go get set up.
I'm totally ready. Like,
Yeah. That's kind of been my whole week, man. Has been just it's so crazy. Like when you're putting out an album, I guess in the past you'd be on tour, right? Or if
so
have
you're
a
like
press tour.
in the midst of stuff.
I just like have to keep running into my basement studio and just kind of like putting on headphones and doing different interviews. But it's cool. It's awesome. It has been a cool way to promote the album and get on board and just to talk with different people and stuff like that. So I mean, I guess it's an upside to kind of the digital Zoom age we're living in now.
There's advantages, and again, if all those can remember that we would not be doing this podcast if not for 2020. So
Truth.
there is that.
Ain't
All right, man.
choice, baby.
Well, do it up. Oh shit! Next time I'll remember to hit record, and we'll be. Not just kidding.
I can see him recording. Very funny.
You should always. Well, first of all,
I should do it too.
I forgot to plug in my LAN, so early on I'm on Wi-Fi, and I heard it chop for 1 second. I'm like, no, I'm so rusty.
Yeah. I know
But-
my Wi-Fi has been choppy all week, and like every time I start like a podcast or an interview, I'm like, we did the Ari Fink thing, and I was like, just please don't cut out. Like my Wi-Fi cut out twice that day.
Bro,
like,
you have to hardwire.
I know.
You must hardwire.
I know.
You must.
I think that might have to be like a winter project for me.
It doesn't take that long. It's one of the first things I did here.
Really?
Yep, it just got a 300-foot cable and ran it up. My Wi-Fi is next to my computer.
Okay.
Plugged right in there.
Yeah, it's a good.
You
I'm
got this.
gonna look into it.
You got this. I believe in you.
Love you, buddy.
All right, talk soon.
Talk to you soon. Peace.